Up with Jake and Fulton coming to you on a Victory Monday. It is not just a Victory Monday, ladies and gentlemen. It is a winning streak Victory Monday. That is right. The Royals' first three-game winning streak is upon us. Do I dare say they go 4 in a row coming up tomorrow? Oh, my goodness. The Royals have won 3 in a row. They got a day off today. That's how that works. 3 in a row for the boys in blue. That is fantastic. Looks fantastic. We will give away Royals tickets today. It is a celebration. People thought that they wouldn't win 3 in a row. They did it before August. Before August, I tell you. So we got a lot to get to. Jake LeBon, Fulton Castro will be joining me momentarily, dealing with some traffic issues right now. So Fulton will be joining me in just a little bit. Glad to be back. And oh boy, what we got a lot to get to. Trade deadline coming up tomorrow. The Royals made a trade yesterday that has irritated a lot of people. We will get to that. We will hear from Steve Spagnoulo. We'll hear from Drue Tranquil. We'll hear from Rashee Rice, Felix Uzama. Colorado, the Buffs, they are back. How about that? We'll get into some college realignment and what's going to end up happening to the Pac-12. Will the Pac-12 cease to exist? Will the Mountain West just rename themselves the Pac-12 with the addition of Cal and Oregon State and Washington State? We'll get to all of that. And we'll talk plenty of Chiefs as well. Let us know your thoughts. Hit us up on our text line, 785-272-9429. Outside of Topeka, 785-272-9429. Let us know your thoughts and your opinions on plenty of topics today. But it is day number 8 in St. Joe, the Chiefs and their training camp. I am excited for tonight. Tonight, late afternoon. I consider it late afternoon. But at 5:20, Mitch Holthus and his Chiefs training camp reports start today. That's right. Mitch will be talking with Dan and Brennan on 580 Sports Talk. Always must listen to what Mitch has to say when it comes to the Chiefs training camp reports. But it is day number 8. And we've got lots to get to when it comes to the latest happenings for the Kansas City Chiefs and what has gone on over the weekend and into today. Injury news, Clyde Edwards-Helaire back at practice today. No Kadarius Toney, not a surprise. I hope Kadarius Toney's not on the roster week number 1. Hope they put him on IR, PUP, whatever they got to. Don't need to see him for the first couple of weeks. Mike Dana or Jody Fortson didn't practice today. Isaiah Moore and Nazeeh Johnson, they are going to head on IR. And Turk Wharton is still on the PUP list, which is a big deal because they don't have a whole lot of defensive tackles. So that is the injury news today. Drue Tranquil, of course, was back yesterday, and today we'll hear from him coming up as well. But no Kadarius Toney, not a surprise. No Turk Wharton, not a surprise. Dan is still dealing with the injury. Same thing with Fortson. And Andy Reid gave the updates yesterday. Nazeeh Johnson tore his ACL, and Isaiah Moore also going to have knee surgery. So they are going to be put on IR. That sucks for Nazeeh Johnson because this is a guy who played last year. He was on the 53-man roster. He kind of was your 5th-string corner, but a really good special teams player. The guy who's most upset about Nazeeh Johnson, that's Dave Tobe, because that is what he did last year. However, because of Nazeeh Johnson's ACL injury, this opens up a roster spot for the Kansas City Chiefs. If I am Deion Bush, I'm actually pretty happy right about now because I think Deion Bush could have been a guy whose roster spot could have been taken. But because they need some help when it comes to the special teams aspect of it, I think you're looking at a roster spot opening up because of Nazeeh Johnson and his ACL tear. Tommy Townsend went down and looked like an ankle injury. Did not get reported on, but he was hobbling a little bit. We don't need the punter with the perfect hair to have any problems. So that's kind of some injury news for the Kansas City Chiefs as of right now. That does think for Najee Johnson, the second-year guy. Chris Jones, he is still not reported. We are now 8 days into Chris Jones's holdout right now. He is accumulating $50,000 a day that will be going to his fines. We are approaching now $500,000 worth of fines. $500,000 worth of fines for not showing up. This is where I try to relate again that they do not live in the same world that we do. $500,000, technically $400,000 is what he's got right now, but $400,000 worth of fines for not showing up. I look at that, I'm like, that's $400,000. I mean, that's like a crazy nice house here in Topeka. Like, he could just pay cash for a crazy nice house here in Topeka if he just showed up at camp when it started. You have to look at it differently because they're in a completely different situation. If the Katz brothers, who's the agent for Chris Jones, and Chris Jones thinks that, hey, you know what, losing out on $400,000 or $500,000 helps us gain an extra $2 or $3 million, well, guess what? That's not hard to figure out. They're willing to spend a little money to make a little bit more money. So no Chris Jones here, day number 8. The concernometer with all of this is interesting. A part of me wonders if Chris Jones just doesn't want to go to camp. Chris Jones like, I'm done with camp. I've been doing this camp thing for a while. But he could get, the Veterans Day off and that type of stuff. But not yet concerned when it comes to Chris Jones. I really don't care what has to happen for Chris Jones to get a long-term deal. And as long as Chris Jones is not dead set on $31 million, then I will say that this is a Chiefs issue. This is a Chiefs concern, not a Chris Jones concern. But if Chris Jones is like, no, I am not going to play less than $31 million a year. I want to be the highest defensive tackle outside of Aaron Donald by less than $1. I want $31 million. Well, then it's a Chris Jones problem. We have said that on this show. I have no problem paying Chris Jones $27, $28 million. You'll be a top 5, top 6 defensive player in the NFL. I'm not going to give you over $28.5 million. You're not the second best defensive player in the NFL. You're not. You're just not. Plus, you're going to have Nick Bosa. You're going to have a whole bunch of other guys. Micah Parsons are going to be making a lot more money. I don't think Chris Jones is a top 5 defensive player in the NFL. So I would say give him $28 million and we are good from there. The other thing that happened over the weekend is something that I have no problem with. And that is, and this is what Andy Reid called it. He called it chippiness. Andy Reid said, I'm okay with chippy, addressing some of the practice scuffles the last few days. And they namely include Travis Kelce. It seems like one thing that the defensive coaches have told the players to do is to try to poke the ball away, rip it away. We want ball security. That is what one thing it kind of sounds like is happening, raking at the ball. Well, Travis Kelce during, padded practices and it's hot and it's angry, and he just gets fed up with some of these younger guys who are not on the same level as Travis Kelce, a.k.a. DiCaprio Boodle and Jack Cochran. They just had enough of it. And he took a swing at Jack Cochran. This happens in camp, and Travis Kelce is already put out there, I need to be a better teammate, a better leader, and that's true. And that is true. But this is the point of training camp. This is part of it where there gets a little bit of chippiness. Andy Reid said that he didn't have to go up to Kelce. Kelce went up to Andy Reid and said, Coach, I'm sorry. It's not going to happen again. I need to be better. That's something that I need to do a little bit better of. And then Andy Reid, and this just goes to show you how Andy Reid is okay with a little bit of chippiness as long as it doesn't impact the practice. And I have said this a lot before. This stuff happens in camp. These are not fights. I saw some people on social media like, oh, fight, bro. That is not a fight, okay? I can tell you what a fight is. I've been in many a fight and seen many a fight at a camp. This is not a fight, all right? This was simply a little heat of the moment. Someone took a swing. I have no problem with that as long as it doesn't impact practice, and that's why Andy Reid says, look, if you're going to fight, go fight over there and let me continue to run practice. I ain't dealing with that. And Andy Reid joked with Travis because said, hey, I thought it was actually pretty good because, you know, he's up there in age. I didn't know if he still had it in him. So Andy Reid, okay with it. It has to be, I'm gonna say the word that no one likes to say in this day and age. Gotta be a little nuance, all right? No big deal when it comes to some of those things. I'm all right with it. And last thing that kind of we will discuss here for the Kansas City Chiefs and what have happened over the weekend. Guys who have looked good for the Kansas City Chiefs. Sky Moore and MVS. Sky Moore's looked excellent in the last couple of weeks of practice, talking with everybody. We'll talk with Matt Derrick tomorrow. But there's so many people who are in and around the NFL and at practice, and the media are saying that Sky Moore looks really good. Actually took a couple reps at Wildcat quarterback today. A little zone read with Sky Moore. That's kind of interesting. MVS really good with padded practices. And that was one thing about MVS. And we might get into this a little bit more. But when you went to the biggest and the best play of every game, remember, the NFL put together what they thought was the best play of the Chiefs offense in all 17 games. And MVS had the biggest play in 5 of those 17. We talked about that. Just how maybe underappreciated MVS was at making some big plays. Second year in the system with Patrick Mahomes, and a lot of these were the deep balls. That's one thing that never really connected last year was the deep ball with MVS on a consistent basis. So I think MVS has been pretty good thus far, which is great to see. Also, Deneric Prince is making this roster. He is now the new Isaiah Pacheco. He's going to make this roster. They're going to carry 4 running backs unless they decide to trade Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I still don't think they will. I still don't. But he's making this roster. It is no question how big he is, how fast he is, what he's been able to do. He's been good. Also, Justin Ross is making this team, I think, and they're going to figure out a way to make it work. They're not going to have a fullback this year, so maybe you add, Justin Ross as a 7th wide receiver. Trust me, they're not going to let a guy who has 3 more years of team control go because of we can't fit him on the roster. No. With the new quarterback rule that they've got going on, with that didn't count for your 53 and all that kind of stuff. I think Justin Ross is going to make this team. I do. I think 8 days in, Justin Ross has looked very, very good. And then another guy, Noah Gray. It's hard to say O lineman and D lineman because once pads just got on Friday, and until you really get into the opponents and all of that, it's kind of hard to tell for O-line and D-line. Drue Tranquil has looked good. He's going to give them a lot of versatility. That is one thing. Willie Gay as well. The linebackers are going to be, I think the Chiefs have the best linebacking core in the AFC West. Some say that's not saying a whole lot, but that's some of the takeaways that we are getting for the Kansas City Chiefs. Just looked up Justin Ross's contract. This year, 2023, his cap hit is $750,000. 24, it's $915,000. In 25, he'll be a restricted free agent. That means he's going to be with the Kansas City Chiefs. You ain't letting that guy walk, all right? You're not. They'll figure out a way to keep Justin Ross on this team, whether or not that's Tony goes on IR or the PUP list or however, or somebody else gets hurt. Justin Ross is going to make this team. And then lastly, and maybe I should say this for Friday. I was the one who was very adamant, Justin Ross coming in, or not Justin Ross, Rashee Rice coming in, maybe a little bit overweight. What's the deal with that? That's not a great look. Man, he's crushed it. He has crushed it to the point where I think we're going to expect a lot more out of Rashee Rice's rookie year than Sky Moore. A lot of that has to do with situation. You had Juju last year. There's not a Juju. There's not a guy who's going to get roughly 1,000 yards this year right out of the rip, because we knew Juju was WR1. We knew that. Don't know who that is. It's going to be WR1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 by committee, but Rashee Rice has looked good, which is another reason why this offense is going to continue to click. Okay? It's going to continue to click. So that's kind of the latest recap of the Kansas City Chiefs and what is going on at practice today. How about that? Fulton Caster back with us. Fulton.
Yes, Jake.
Told you the Royals were going to win 3 in a row. I told you they were going to.
You did. I'm proud of you.
Before August, man, you were like,
barely. But they didn't know what they did. Did.
Does it say on
it
baseball?
Is July 31st, and they accomplished it on July 30th.
Does it say on Baseball Reference 3-game winning streak under longest winning streak? But does it say barely? No, it doesn't.
You're correct.
Barely does not count. We're celebrating today. We're going to be giving away some Royals tickets. We'll talk a little bit more Royals. You might not like my opinion right now on the Nicky Lopez trade.
I'm interested to see what it is.
You might be surprised. You might. We got a lot to get to on this winning streak of 3.
It's 3 in a row. That counts.
Victory.
That's a winning streak.
Monday. That's right. That is.
It has been done before.
Not this year. It hadn't. So it hasn't been. That's why we're celebrating. And it'll be fun. Maybe tomorrow we'll go back to 100 losses. Maybe 3 in a row has changed everything.
All right, let's calm down.
Hey, I did say if they win 7 in a row.
You did. You said if they got 7 in a row, we'd go back to it.
Go back to 100.
So they just got to get 4 more.
Hey, the Mets are in absolute shambles right now.
Yeah, they're selling.
Yeah.
Which, man, I'm so happy to be right about that.
We got lots to get to. Coming up next, we got a little weekends, takeaways, and fails. Then we'll hear from some Chiefs players. Alrighty, Fulton, do you got any big weekend takeaways or fails?
There is one gigantic fail for this weekend, and that's the entire Indianapolis Colts organization. You are not only publicly fighting with your running back, who has a case. I don't think all these running backs have as much of a case as they think they do, but they have a case. But not only are you publicly fighting with him, to which your owner, who has his own issues, says some very not great comments about your running back. And now it seems you are making up a fake injury to put him on the non-football injury list so you don't have to pay him for a year and his contract tolls. The shadiness happening in Indianapolis is frankly disgusting, and Jonathan Taylor deserves better, but no one's going to trade for him. No one's going to trade and pay him because no one's paying running backs. And then also no one's going to trade for him because that'd be going against the owner little code of honor crap they have going on. But the Colts are manipulating their best player, and that is the worst look ever.
It's a bad situation to be in, to be a running back right now. If we're talking about the money, like, I get it. Game evolves, right? Just the way it works. So I don't feel sorry for running backs. I don't. But you also have to know who your boss is.
Yeah.
You got to know Jim Irsay is not a sane person.
Not even close.
Okay. And insane, wealthy people who, if you rub them the wrong way, they will have an axe to grind, man. I'm telling you. That's just the way the world works. Okay. It really, really is. There's a lot to get to, man. I've loved the Women's World Cup. That's been a lot of fun. I was on vacation last week. Fulton, best takeaway. I am not washed, my friend. Roller coasters, I can handle them.
Proud of you.
The circle stuff, the spinny stuff, not even a chance. I went on one little elephant ride with my son that went around at a snail's pace. Yeah, that was like I was teetering. I was on the brink. But coasters, I'm still good.
Good job, Jake.
I'm not washed. Coming up next, we're gonna hear from Drue Tranquil and Rashee Rice here on Mic'd Up. Coming up in the 1 o'clock hour, we will get to some Royals talk and the trade that was made yesterday.
That it has set 99% of this fan base up to with pitchforks, and they want to string several people from trees.
Yeah, there are a lot of angry. The Royals Twitter right now, like the people who are like really into the Royals, man, they're just.
It's a dangerous place.
Wow, they're angry.
Yeah,
am I one of them?
We'll get to it. I don't get it. We'll get to it, but I don't get it.
Whoa. So maybe we don't agree. Interesting.
No, I mean, I don't get the anger. Let me clarify. Yeah. I don't get the anger.
Maybe that's what I said. Maybe we're. I thought we might be in agreement, Fulton, but now I don't know if we are.
We'll see.
Yeah, we will. We got a lot to get to. Let's hear from some Chiefs players, and one guy that I am curious and how they're going to use him, and the sub packages and everything involving the linebacking core, the coverage units. But they got some athletic linebackers now when you look at it. Drue Tranquil, Willie Gay, Leo Chanel, athletic, maybe not so much as a coverage guy, but man, I'm interested in Tranquil, what he's going to bring to the table. He'll be the green dot when Nick Bolton isn't there. But here is what Drue Tranquil had to say when he met with the media, talks about joining the Chiefs a little bit. And there's one thing that Drue Tranquil wants to do. And it's pretty simple. Here is what the linebacker for the Kansas City Chiefs had to say.
So, Drue, within the new defensive system, Steve Spagnoulo said you're playing all three linebacking positions. How are you adjusting so far? You're just trying to get accustomed to this scheme and getting yourself in the right place.
Well, man, it's an honor to be here and playing for Coach Spags and the defending champs. And we just have so many great guys in that room that I'm trying to learn from each and every day. It's certainly different than the defense I played in LA, but football's football, and you pick up on things as you go throughout your career. And certainly there's things during my time at Notre Dame and throughout my time in the league that I've picked up on that have kind of helped me, translate and learn this defense. But it's a process nonetheless.
What have you picked up from the Chiefs that you are applying that you maybe haven't picked up anywhere else that you played?
Man, I think there's just certain techniques, certain uses of the hands. For instance, Coach Daly during spring camp switched the positioning of my hand in striking. And so it's just small things you'll pick up from coaches, from players throughout your career. And certainly there's a lot of great guys specifically within our room that I'm certainly learning from every day.
Drue, it looked like the day that Nick was out, I think he was sick, you had the green dot.
Yeah.
How do you feel like that particular workout went?
Yeah, I thought it went really well. I thought guys were lined up. We were playing fast. Certainly there's always corrections to make, but it felt smooth, felt comfortable, felt a lot better than the spring when I was learning it for the first time.
Drue, how many teams were a possibility for you as a free agent? And just what about Spag's system sort of was, I guess, intriguing for you?
Yeah, there was at any given time, there was probably 10 or 11 teams involved. And as dominoes fell, that list shrunk. But there was about 5-6 teams that last day I was kind of choosing between. And I think just talking to Coach Spags, talking to Brett Veach, talking to Andy Reid, I just felt really valued here. Felt like they were going to use a lot of my strengths, maximize me as a player here, and that excited me and ultimately led to my decision to come here.
Is there added juice when you go from one division team to another?
Certainly, yeah. You can't wait. You can't wait to play them for sure.
Going through those games, and there were a lot of exciting games that came down to the wire. What's it like to come here and be with this team as opposed to going up against them?
Yeah, it's great. It seems like we couldn't beat them in the fourth quarter or overtime over the past 2-3 years. Division games, they're always exciting. They're always fun. They're going to continue to be, and so I'm excited to be part of Chiefs Kingdom and go after another ring this year.
So sometimes the neck feeling, you get a little bit, whatever the.
Oh yeah, this has nothing to do with that. No, it's just a football play the other day, and got jammed up a little bit, but it's doing well. Thanks for asking.
Drue, you said that Steve, Brett, and Andy sort of felt value. Is there something that you feel like you put on tape that has not gotten the respect that you might want to be able to show in this system?
I mean, I think just my versatility as a linebacker, my ability to cover, my ability to rush, my ability to play the run, and my instincts. That's one thing you can't teach physically is instincts. In the defense, maybe you have to have the most of. It's linebacker when it comes to instincts. And so I think all of those things, along with some intangibles, some leadership, I think they saw those. They affirmed those in me throughout the process, and I certainly agreed with them and felt like this was the best place for me.
Drue, I'm sure you had an impression of the Chiefs in their locker room from having played them for 4 years, but how has that matched up with what you've seen now that you've actually got here to camp?
It's just hyper competitive around here. Like, winning is absolutely everything. It's kind of egos aside. It's like winning is the ultimate goal. The picture of that Super Bowl ring is on the start of every single slide of every presentation. Whether it's Coach Spags like saying, hey, let's change this up schematically just to try to fool Patrick to win this day at practice. Like, winning is everything to them. And you certainly see that with the amount of close games they win on a year in and year out basis.
Any impressions of Andy's camp so far?
It's hard, man. It's hard. It's a lot tougher than the previous 4 camps I've been a part of, for sure.
What makes you say that?
I mean, he just maximizes every minute of on-field time. I think per the collective bargaining agreement, we get like 4 hours, and we're going to be on the field for exactly 4 hours. You're going to be out here for 2.5 hours. You're going to be in there for an hour and a half. And so he grinds you. He gets the most out of you. And, that ultimately goes to winning, I think.
How sore do you feel like the 3 straight days have passed?
Man, sometimes you just feel like a turtle walking off the field, man, just slow and steady. But you take it day by day and try to make the most of your opportunity.
You said that they had the Super Bowl ring at every projection. I mean, when you see that, what's that mean for one of those guys to be like, okay, this is the standard and we move forward from here? That's going to be pretty unique.
Yeah. I mean, as a competitor, like, your ideal like dream is to be a world champion. And so a lot of these guys in this locker room have done that. I'm excited to join up with them, learn from them, and be a part of this championship culture. And it's, as Coach Reed says, anybody can do it one time, but going back to back sets you apart. And that's what we're after. Got to keep the chip on our shoulder this year because everybody's obviously going to be out to get us.
Last two up front here.
I know you said how difficult it was, but as a player, is that something you appreciate, that you're maximizing your time out here and you know you're getting the work done necessary so you guys can hit the ground running when the season starts?
I think there's something like in us as human beings, like when we do hard things and put that like in our reservoir, like we're able to draw from that later. And I think that's what Coach Reed's all about, is building this foundation in camp so that when we're in Jacksonville week 2 and it's, 90 degrees, 80% humidity, we're able to kind of draw from that well of difficult circumstances throughout training camp and apply it to those present situations.
Drew, you kind of have a unique perspective on this. When you go up against Travis Kelce as a defender, covering, guarding, everything, trying to get him down, what's it like? I mean, how different is it versus other guys?
He's such a unique, fascinating, incredible player. He's so unchoreographed and like stem you in and you're thinking he's definitely going over and then he's going back out. And so he's just a rare combination of speed, size, and strength. And he's got a lot of finesse to his game that make him really difficult to guard.
That is what Drue Tranquil had to say. One there about Travis Kelce, but he's a guy who wants to win. And I am floored that a guy of his skill set and maybe I'm too high on Drue Tranquil.
You're not. I have the same questions you're having.
Didn't get a better than a 1-year deal.
It's weird. Because he might have some, I guess you would call it minor deficiencies in 2 levels in run game and stuff like that. He's one of the better coverage linebackers in the NFL. And in the way today's NFL has evolved, I am stunned that the Chiefs were able to grab him on a fairly cheap 1-year deal. It really was stunning to me.
And you can definitely tell he's betting on himself for a 1-year deal to try to get a better contract after this year. But that was, I think this is a great signing. I really, really do. I think the 2 bigger names of Tranquil and Amenahu, I think this is going to be those 2 are going to be good for the Kansas City Chiefs. And the fact that they're on the defensive side of the ball is a big, big deal for me. I've already, kind of backpedaled a little bit in my worry. We'll wait and see until the season starts. But Rashee Rice has really impressed a lot of people thus far with Tony going down and MVS kind of knowing his role. That leaves Sky Moore. That leaves Rashee Rice. That leaves Richie James. That leaves Justin Ross. Those 4 guys, Justin Watson, kind of know what Justin Watson can do. But here's what Rashee Rice had to say to the media today when he spoke.
Hello. So how's camp going for you? Because last time we talked to you, you were with the rookies. Now you're with the vets. How's it going for you?
It's going pretty good. I think OTAs have helped me be able to adjust just because kind of had the same mentality at OTAs that we have now.
Dealing with camp, dealing with the same with pads on, how different was that for you in going through this process?
Not too much different. I love football and can't play football without pads, so it's just another part of the game.
How much does it add to it to be able to practice in front of fans?
It's pretty cool, honestly. I know Arrowhead, they have a huge fan base, so just to get a little glimpse of it right now, kind of give me a little head start to prepare for the games.
Rashee, where do you feel like you still need to fine-tune some things?
Honestly, just certain snap counts and being able to adjust as far as, when the defense moving, I need to be able to adjust my certain routes.
There are certain things that every quarterback is going to prefer. Like, what have you learned in the week so far about maybe where Pat wants you to be or doing certain things?
He expects his receivers to be in a specific spot at a specific time, and he's going to bomb the ball. So don't look back and run, look up and run.
Is there along those lines? What is he like as a teacher as far as teaching you what you need to know?
He's a great coach. Great brother off the field, and he's just going to let you know exactly what he's thinking so that you can basically be in his head on and off the field.
Matt Nagy talked
as far as getting into his head.
Can you say that again? Yeah, I'm becoming real confident. I think he can see that.
Rashee, Matt Nagy talked about the timing of Patrick. How How important is that, and how have you gone from that adjustment from college to now?
I mean, like I said, just learning how to run out of certain routes and running full speed, like just running full speed the whole play.
Do you feel pressure to do what Pat wants and to learn from him, learn the offense so that you can, make an impact? I mean, is there internal pressure you put on yourself because of that?
Honestly, I put pressure on myself every day just to come outside, to come to practice and get better. But it's not necessarily pressure from Pat or Travis or anything like that. They're kind of real welcoming, and they understand that I'm new to the system, so they're just going to help me, catch up to their speed so I can be a vet as soon as I can.
What's been your favorite day of camp and why? And what's been your worst day of camp and why?
I don't necessarily think there's been a worst day at camp. Every day is hard work. I mean, that's kind of, it comes with it. And then, my best day, favorite day, it's kind of when I have any kind of impact on the field on offense.
I guess when you say that, when did you sort of feel like that was starting to come on?
When I caught my first touchdown from Pat, I was kind of like, yeah, I could do this.
Have you thrown up at all since day one?
Nah.
When you got together with Patrick, how much of that stuff are you
on? A lot of it. Like I say, regardless, whenever Pat is throwing the ball, he's going to be coaching at the same time. So it just he translates that to the practice field as well.
Same way he was doing back then. I mean, you see pretty similar personality back then as he is now.
Yeah, if I got a question and if I'm not running the route exactly how he wants it, he's going to let me know how he wants the route run. And then I'm going to keep doing it until we got repetition and constant on that route.
Rashee Rice starting to get a little bit more confident. The tremendous advice from Rashee Rice. And it's a great quote with Patrick Mahomes. Don't look back and run, look up and run. Okay. That's terrific. Just keep running, right? You got to go full, Dory off of Finding Nemo. Just keep swimming. No, just keep running. Just keep running. Just keep running and look up because the ball is going to be high in the air. Don't look back at Mahomes. Look up in the sky and see the ball heading your way. I think that is terrific from Rashee Rice. So we might have to adjust his numbers going forward when it comes to his over and unders compared to the other rookies in previous years. What about Felix and Udike Uzama? Met with the media for a little bit. Here is what King Felix had to say.
Felix, just where do you see your progress right now?
It's a day-to-day process. At the same time, I'm learning every day, trying to get better every day as I go. So at the end of the day, it's a day process. I'm just learning the playbook and technique-wise. So, yeah.
How much did not being able to participate physically in the OTAs affect you coming into training camp?
Affected me quite a bit. Not gonna lie, because a lot of the rookies obviously had to learn technique-wise, going to field full speed and stuff like that, and I had to jump back because of my injury and stuff like that. But now I'm in here. Now I'm in training camp, so it's just training camp's a great time to be. Time to get your footwork down, get everything down, so to be ready for the preseason and the season.
Steve Spagnoulo just said you're climbing, and he thinks that you're flashing now. Do you agree with that assessment that you're climbing and flashing?
I agree that I'm learning every day. I'm learning exactly what the coaches have for me in store, just learning technique-wise. So, and I thank him for saying that. At the end of the day, that I'm still learning. I'm still not there yet, and I got some learning to do. So, yeah.
How close is this to what you expected to be your first training camp?
How close? Obviously, I had to step back from OTAs, so that it's kind of a jump back, but I'm slowly getting into the hang of it.
Come in as a first-round draft pick. Are there expectations you feel you have to live up to?
I'm just blocking that out. At the end of the day, I'm just drafted here to play, so I'm drafted here to learn, play, and learn the defense.
Are you on the same sack dance?
I will, yeah.
Anything else? Last one.
The biggest challenge is physical or mental?
It's a bit of both. Obviously, coming from college, you're not met with the same competition as people in the NFL because those are people that are the best of the best and mental-wise too.
there's a lot of more things I've learned from jumping from Kansas State to here, like technique wise, and plus I was in a 3-4, and now we're in a 4-down defense. So there's a lot of more stuff, and I'm dropping back. So it's a lot of stuff that I got to learn. So yeah.
I've seen Deuce has been making some noise down in Dallas. Have you stayed in contact with him? And
we talk almost every day. He just tells me his experience with him with the Cowboys. I tell him my experience I have here. So yeah, we keep in contact a lot.
That is Felix Enudike. That's not exactly what you want to hear. Off to a slow start because of the injury. The switch from being inside to outside, because K-State ran a 3-4, and so he was lined up more on the inside. Chiefs run a 4-3. He is what they want on the outside. I think this is going to be a better position for Enudike Uzama, but I'm a little hesitant to make sure that I don't expect 6-7 sacks for Felix Enudike Uzama. I don't think he's going to get as many reps like George did last year, especially if Omenehu's going to play on the outside, because it's going to be. Well, this is assuming if Chris Jones is back with the team, because eventually, but not exactly what you want to hear, but lot to go, a long way to go for Felix Enudike Uzama, but even if it is hard, hey, just get to the quarterback. That's all I care about.
That is just your only job.
Coming up next, man, one of the most impressive things that I have seen in a combat sport happened over the weekend. We'll get to that next. Coming up in the 1 o'clock hour, we'll hear from Steve Spagnoulo. The day I had yesterday, I got put into a situation that no parent wants to be put into, and we had to make a decision. We'll get to that, Fulton, see what you would have done, and if you were sitting in my shoes. Kind of interested in this. And we'll talk a little Royals. We'll see if Fulton and I are on the same page. But Saturday night, I'm not a big MMA guy. I'm not, it's just not me. But I do like a good boxing fight. And Bud Crawford and Errol Spence squared off. They were both undefeated. Bud Crawford with 39-0. Errol Spence really, really good. This is one of the more anticipated boxing matchups in a long time. And Bud Crawford did something that this honestly was one of the most impressive fights, even like boxing people have seen in a long time. Bud Crawford dominated the guy who many people thought was just as good as him, and it wasn't even close. It was incredible how he picked apart a guy who pretty much beats anybody because he was undefeated, and Bud Crawford dominated. Like, Bud Crawford, to me, should go down as honestly one of the greatest fighters of all time. He's 40-0, and he has kicked the snot out of everybody. I do wish that Floyd Mayweather and Bud Crawford could have overlapped, because that would have been an incredible fight. That was fun to watch. I thought Spence and Crawford would go the distance. They should have stopped that thing in like round 5. He just beat him to a pulp. Oh my gosh, that was impressive. It really, really was. Don't even need a rematch. I saw enough there, Spence. Yeah, you Crawford's on a whole nother level. That was fun to watch. That was actually good. Coming up, Royals make a trade and we've won 3 in a row. We'll get to all that coming up. Mic'd up, Jake LeBon, Fulton Caster with you on this Victory Monday. That is right. When the Royals win 3 in a row, they get the day off. They get the day off. No Royals baseball today because they've been winning. That is right. We'll hear from Steve Spagnoulo coming up at the bottom of the hour. The Chiefs will be off tomorrow before getting back in action on Wednesday. So plenty to get to on this edition of Mic'd Up. Let us know your thoughts. Hit us up on our text line, 785-272-9429. Also, head to our website, 580www.com, and our YouTube page. You can check us out, streaming it all on the World Wide Web. YouTube.com, search Sports on 580. Very simple, very easy if you want to interact with us. We'll get to more of Colorado back in the Big 12. We'll get to that coming up in the 2 o'clock hour, a little over and proper reaction as well. But let's get to a little Royals baseball. The Royals have won 3 in a row. That was cool. Bobby Witt Jr. Is now the greatest baseball player playing. 4 of 5 in back-to-back days and 9 RBIs in a series. Folks, that does not happen very often. That's great to see. And ever since June 1st, Bobby Witt Jr. is what we were hoping Bobby Witt Jr. was going to be. So that is a delight, an absolute delight that Bobby Witt Jr. is doing what he is doing. So walk-off grand slams, those are always fun.
Cool.
Those are always exciting. The start of the year, a little bit slow, but since then, he's been very, very good. He's up to 18 home runs, got 29 stolen bases. He'll be, I do think one day he will be a part of the 30-30 club.
He's going to get a 30-30 season. He'll at least get a 20-30 season this year. If he goes on some kind of nuclear tear, he could threaten a 30-30 this year. It would
hitting
take a lot.
It well enough now. I mean, you got
to get 12 home runs for the final 2 months, but 6 home runs a month? It's not impossible.
Yeah.
It is definitely, though, improbable.
Yeah, he's this is good stuff for what the Royals are doing. And they got some good pitching performances, and we're going to get to one of them, which maybe shouldn't be on the Royals team coming up in 48 hours, to be honest with you. That's one guy. But the big news, the Royals have traded Nicky Lopez for I don't want to call him a pitching prospect.
No, it's a veteran pitcher.
Because he pitches in and has pitched in the major leagues. But here's the thing that has gone on when it comes to the Royals right now and what they're doing. I look at it this way. The Royals traded Nicky Lopez because Nicky Lopez is 28 years old and is a guy who can't hit, and he's not going to be part of the future. All right? He's not. Okay? Guys who have OPS pluses under 70 for their career, not part of the future. Okay. Nicky Lopez is a guy who is a really good defensive player and is a good utility depth piece for a winning team. If Nicky Lopez is your starting insert guy here, that's not a good situation to be in, okay? That's not a good situation to be in. I want people to realize that is not what you need, okay? Now, how this has all gone down is, I think, what is frustrating Royals fans. If you are upset at the return on what Nicky Lopez gets you, then you are delusional. Nicky Lopez is never and was never or ever going to bring you back any prospect of any sort. This is a guy whose career OPS is 600 and his OPS plus is 73. All right? He ain't bringing you back anything. So if you would all say, how can you bring back this trade was awful, what are they doing? I think you need to reevaluate who Nicky Lopez is. All right? Are we in agreement there?
Yes.
We're in agreement. Like,
yes.
Stop saying Nicky Lopez. Oh, we got a guy who, honestly, I'd rather have Hearn than Nicky Lopez. You want to know why? Because at least the pitching prospect, I can't remember his first name now, look back here. But Hearn strikes out a ton of dudes. A ton of dudes. He also walks a ton of guys. Okay? Very Royals-esque, if you will. But if they can figure out his walks, then somebody like that is much better to have on your team than a guy named Nicky Lopez who has got over almost 2,000 plate appearances. I know what Nicky Lopez is, okay? Now, maybe this is where we agree or disagree, Fulton. If you want to go with how they got the trade, I can kind of understand that then. The way that this worked was the Atlanta Braves were able to Hearn, and then they immediately DFA'd him.
So what happened was this. The Rangers DFA'd Hearn. The Texas Rangers DFA'd Taylor Hearn. In the process of that DFA, the Atlanta Braves acquired him for cash. The Braves then flipped him for Nicky Lopez. That is the timeline of what happened with Taylor Hearn over about a 6-day period. I will not dispute this fact of the situation. The process was bad.
Yes!
The process was indisputably bad.
And here's the reason why. If the Royals liked Taylor Hearn,
why did you not try and get him for cash 6 days earlier?
And you could have.
And you could have.
Because the way that this works is it's the crappiest teams get first right. So if the A's didn't, I'm sure of this, that all GMs get the waiver wire at a certain time and everybody knows their order. The Royals are second because the A's are still worse than them. So if the A's did not want Taylor Hearn, then it goes to the Royals. And if the Royals don't want Taylor Hearn,
it would actually go to the Rockies, and it descends. So
wait, the Rockies have a worse record than the Royals?
No, it goes A's, Royals, Rockies. Rockies are the worst team in the National League.
Oh, I thought it just went by team. I didn't know it went alternate league. I did not know
No,
that.
it didn't. It goes A's as the worst, Royals second worst.
Oh, okay. I thought you
Rockies
said,
after Royals.
I thought you said Rockies before
No.
the Royals. Okay.
Rockies after the Royals.
Gotcha.
No. It goes by just overall crappiness.
If you liked him, why didn't you get him then? Which is
that's a valid question and a
understandable.
valid reason to be upset is by the process. I will not defend this process. The process is poor. The situation is this, because I have seen like people get upset about stuff that the Royals do. It's doomsday. Like people are like, this is doomsday.
They just want to be upset about the Royals because they think that'll be fun to be upset at the Royals.
And here's the thing. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that JJ Picollo knows what he's doing or is the perfect guy to lead it. I still think there's a chance that he's not the guy to lead them out of the situation, and it's definitely not perfect because the process being bad does tell me we got some problems. The fact of the matter is this in 2 points. One, would you like a 28-year-old utility infielder who does not help you offensively, and you know what he is, that he will never help you offensively unless he gets the flukiest season ever? Or would you like a 28-year-old reliever who throws hard, good spin, needs to work on his command? Which of those two things would you like? Because that in a box and in a vacuum is what we've done here. And for me, it's this. And I get, because also when it comes to the return, all right, would you like the 28-year-old who you kind of know the exact thing you need to work on fixing? You don't know if you can fix it, but you know what the thing you need to fix is. Or would you like an 18-year-old who is probably 5 years away from the big leagues and you don't know what problems he needs to have fixed? That's what we're debating here. And listen, I literally think I might be the one person on planet Earth who's okay with this trade. Because local writers for the Royals hate it. National media is crucifying KC for this move, including Baseball Prospectus saying it might be the most unnecessary deadline deal ever.
Now, are they saying that because of the situation that the Royals gave up Nicky Lopez because they botched a waiver situation? If that's the case, then
it's partly that. It literally is partly the process is bad. And because from a logical standpoint, I get the reasoning that teams in the Royals' position as a club, as an organization, should not be trading away big league players for relievers. Because that is supposed to be the thing, which is where I get into a disagreement and a debate.
We're calling Nicky Lopez a big league player. This dude can barely get it out of the infield.
And that is where I get to just a lot of disagreements with Royals fans and national writers. I'm not trying to pretend this trade is some great, amazing thing. I'm not. I do not view this as a full-on indictment of JJ Picollo just yet. Because the potential benefit of this trade comes down to, can they fix Taylor Hearn, which they're putting on their pitching development, which the running joke is, well, that's a terrible idea. Their pitching development's bad. The entire thing they did this offseason was to try to fix pitcher development. So I'm going to give them an opportunity to try and develop pitchers. And moreover, the thing is, and this is just the other part to this too, if you view the Royals in the lens of they will not compete till 2027 or 2028, you can in no way like this move. If you think that there is an avenue where the Royals can do something good in 25 or 26, this becomes much more logical. And for me, that's where JJ is coming from, I think, in this position. Now, I want to make something very clear with this trade. If the Royals screw up every other deadline deal they make until 5 p.m. Central Time Tuesday, I will change my tune. I will come on this show Wednesday at noon, and I will publicly lead the charge for JJ Picollo being fired. And that you should have cleaned house. I wanted to give JJ a chance. It didn't work. But if we're going to indict him on a trade of Nicky Lopez. Because I saw someone, and Rainey Giarelli is where I saw this from on Twitter, and Rainey has a lot of good points at a lot of times. He said, point is that Nicky Lopez was the 5th most valuable player to the Royals right now, which by WAR is correct, Nicky Lopez has the 5th most WAR, wins above replacement, on the Royals this year. That number is 1.1. Context matters.
Yeah.
Trading away your 5th most valuable player for peanuts when that 5th most valuable player is like, he's one of the 5th most valuable. It's just the name in my head. Ronald Acuna. Yeah, you've done something wrong. But when that 5th best player nets you an extra win, if you fix Taylor Hearn, he could have the exact same WAR as Nicky Lopez.
That to me, the whole Nicky Lopez. That's a problem with the overall roster, which is not entirely JJ's fault. That is
it's what he inherited. And what
regime.
I want to add 2 more points to this too. First things first, Jake, how much of the Royals did you watch this weekend? Did you get a chance? I know you're on vacation, so that changes things.
I didn't watch a single pitch.
Cool. What do you think was Nicky Lopez's most important contribution to this series this weekend?
I have no
idea.
All
3 games.
No idea.
He had a walk in the 10th inning that set up Bobby Witt Jr.'s grand slam. He did not register a hit all weekend. He did not play on Saturday.
Yeah, it's because he is a glove.
He's a glove for like the Braves. I saw a photo of people like, oh, well, yeah, like right now it's bad, but what if the Braves use him and he, goes BABIP crazy and gets 290 again? 1, he won't. 2, they won't. What the Braves have done is flipped a guy they paid cash for a utility player who will play like 4 out of 7 days at random
he
spots.
won't even do that. He won't even do that. You ready for this? This is what he's going to do for the Atlanta Braves, because I don't know if you know this, but the Atlanta Braves offensive lineup
Braves are very good.
Is stupid good, okay? Is he going to play in place of Ozzie Albies?
Nope.
No. Is he going to play in place of their stud shortstop? I can't remember his
Orlando
name.
Arcia.
No, he's absolutely not. You want to know what he's going to do? He's called insurance.
Yeah.
In case one of those guys gets hurt, they're not going to have a gaping hole on their defense.
Mm-hmm.
Their offense is good enough. They're going to have they're going to have 7 guys with 20 home runs. Their offense does not need Nicky Lopez.
They're already at 4.
He is specifically a guy who, in case somebody gets hurt, they're not going to go down defensively.
He's their break glass case emergency. And my other point is this. The Royals are short on pitching. The Royals have an excess of infielders.
Yeah.
I get the process is bad. And then I will add this, and this might be my most outlandish part, and I also just said this, I can't view the distant doom and gloom as ever the Royals fans, because then I need to go take a long walk off Short Pier. Like, I can't live in that universe, because that's just such a sad way to live. I have to try and view, how can this work? The Royals did not acquire Taylor Hearn for cash, so they wouldn't have spent extra money. The Royals saved $1.25 million by trading away Nicky Lopez. The Royals have done things to lower costs for this season. I have said this time and again. If John Sherman wants his stadium, he's got to spend money. There is a non-zero chance the Royals are making some of these moves in the light of, we need money to spend this offseason.
You want to know what Nicky Lopez is going to end up making in the coming years? He's going to make $3 to $4 million because he's going to be arbitration eligible and all that, right? Okay, ready? Yeah. I would not pay Nicky Lopez
$3 million.
Of $3 million.
Now, that's
just smart business.
The Royals have 2 more days to make trades. They have today and tomorrow. They have other guys to trade, and if they screw up somebody more important, then I will lose my mind. It's hard to screw up the Scott Barlow trade that's going to happen. If they trade Ryan Yarbrough, which they should, even more so.
They should.
That's whatever. But now, if they trade MJ Melendez, if they trade Carlos Hernandez, if they trade good players, good young controllable players, and screw those up, then we can have a realistic conversation. It's Nicky Lopez, guys. Stop overvaluing a light-hitting guy who I am confident you give Nicky Lopez the same amount of at-bats, we get the same amount of home runs.
Yeah.
That doesn't work in today's game.
I don't understand that.
I don't get it.
I just don't.
I don't get the anger. I don't get the doom and gloom.
Trade. Ryan Yarbrough needs to be traded. If I'm in another opposing team, Ryan Yarbrough.
If I'm anyone with a semi-pitching shortage, I'm calling the Royals and going, hey, I will give you this 20-year-old dude in high A for Ryan Yarbrough.
Yeah.
Which those are the type of guys the Royals would take a random prospect for, because JJ McCullough said as much.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't.
told you.
Well, look at us. We're agreeing with the Royals, man.
We're the two people on this planet who are okay with this
my
trade.
God. The Royals are. I just don't get it. I just don't.
I don't either.
We got a lot more to get to. We're going to hear from Steve Spagnoulo coming up at the bottom of the hour. The list, it was National Chicken Wing Day over the weekend, which was a lot of fun. So we're gonna go with chicken wing sauces. What do you got?
Number 4, give me a good garlic parmesan. Love a good garlic parmesan wing sauce.
That didn't make my list.
That's
That
okay.
did not make honey barbecue.
Ooh, that's
Number
a
4.
good one.
Love honey barbecue.
No, that is a very, very good call. Number 3, give me a good mango habanero. Got some good heat.
I can't handle the heat, you know.
I can't. I know you can. I can't.
Number 3, lemon pepper.
Ah, that's a good one. That's a good call.
Pepper. Yep. Love a good lemon pepper.
Lemon pepper is my problem is there are plenty of times I order it and it comes as just a full-on dry rub. And I'm not a dry rub wing guy. Like I think it needs a sauce and not just being completely dry. I would say that's like my biggest issue on that front. Number 2 for me is the classic honey barbecue. Just give me a barbecue chicken wing. It's good. There's a reason classics are the classics. They work for certain reasons.
Alrighty. I think this is a sauce.
Okay.
But a lot of people think it's like its own entity.
Okay.
And it's teriyaki.
No, it counts.
You know what I mean?
It counts as a wing sauce, but I also get the argument that it's its own thing. I get both sides, but it counts.
Like the teriyaki, speaking of that, Old Trapper's teriyaki beef
Oh,
jerky.
so good.
The teriyaki beef jerky. Incredible.
Oh, it's so good.
Incredible.
It's amazing.
So that number 2, I like teriyaki.
Yeah.
I like teriyaki.
That's a good spot. Number 1 for me is very simple, and it's the buffalo wing. Buffalo wings are fantastic.
Hold
they
on
are
a second.
amazing.
They're all wings. So you're
Buffalo
saying
sauce.
Buffalo
wings.
sauce. Okay.
Yes. No, they are all
wings. It is buffalo. Now, Do you subset Buffalo into like medium, hot?
I personally
crazy
don't,
hot?
but I don't blame anyone that does because
Because
a lot of places do it.
Buffalo has its own subset of you know.
You can have a really hot buffalo,
Yeah.
more mild buffalo.
Whereas like
yes.
teriyaki is just teriyaki.
Yes. No.
Mango
Yeah.
habanero is mango habanero. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
I feel you.
But the answer is mild buffalo.
Oh yeah, no, I'm with you.
That's the answer.
That's the answer.
Mild
Best type of wing you can have.
buffalo. From the text line, is this buffalo syrup, Fulton?
We've been had this debate.
They don't forget.
We done did had this.
Do you guys like bone in or boneless? Well, we're talking about wings, so we are going with bone.
I'm not getting into this.
Boneless are not wings; they are nuggets.
I'm not getting into this.
I will die on that hill. Coming up, we're going to hear from Steve Spagnoulo. We will get to the latest college realignment news. Colorado coming back home. Saw a great analogy for Colorado. All right. In the Big 8, forever. Then they joined the Big 12, forever. And then, got a little upset and ran away from home. They made it down the block and they came back. Which is so true. Because they were in the Pac-12 for 8 years?
2012 is when they left?
10 years?
11 years.
11 years.
All the way back at the end of 23.
Yeah.
Basically 11 years.
Yeah, they ran down the block, running away from home. They ran down the block and they're like, yeah, I don't want to do this. They came back.
They left for one day and then realized they had to do their own laundry and decided they needed to be back with their parents.
Oh, it's so relatable when you're so upset at your parents. I'm running away. You ran away, and then you got to the end of the block. And, they were out at the end of the block for, a little bit. Realized it sucked. Wasn't any good. And now they're back. I thought that was a great analogy. It really is. We'll talk more about the next addition to the Big 12. But right now, we are going to hear from Steve Spagnoulo, defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, what he had to say today.
Good to have gotten practice in outdoors. We thought we were going to be inside there for a little bit, but nothing to add. Just I'll open it up. I'm ready.
Steve, with Drue, his versatility that you can use there in the linebacker, how are you maneuvering that?
Yeah.
The puzzle around.
Yeah, it's nice to have guys like that can do more than one thing. He's played all three base linebacker positions, and then he's been in, the sub package when he's been in with Nick, plus he's been in there in the Mike with one of the other linebackers. that helps us a lot. And he's a guy, listen, it's all new to him as far as the verbiage and the system. So it tells you that he's pretty intelligent if he's playing that many spots this early.
How about Felix's progress?
Yeah, I think Felix is climbing. I really do. I mean, look at, we all know he didn't get a lot of, didn't do anything in the offseason here, and that set him back. I thought he was a little rusty and struggled early. But Joe and I both, as you watch one-on-ones or you watch the team periods, he's flashing now, which is a good thing. There's still a curve there, right? The learning curve. But I think he's doing pretty good right now. Yeah.
Coach, you guys unfortunately lost Najee for the
Yeah.
year. Beyond the 4 guys from last year, Nick Jones, the draft pick, who's pushing to maybe break into that room?
Yeah, I mean, all those guys are playing really. Nick's one you brought up. Echo, I thought, had a really good day the other day. And all Boodle always gives us everything he's got. Somebody's going to have to surface, that's for sure. We do have guys with some experience now. That would have been a little different a year ago, right? If you started having injuries there, they were all young. I'm really sad to see that happen to NJ. He was really climbing. If you guys notice, he was taking reps with the first group because he had earned it. And he's got a really good corner skill set. I mean, he played safety in college, but so hopefully, we'll pray he gets healthy real quick and gets back. Yeah.
You mentioning Drue being at all 3 linebacker spots is a little bit of experimentation, but a little bit of, trying to simulate a game as if he would need to go from maybe one spot to the next.
That's a great point. I mean, look, we know he's a guy that's played in the league, right? He's been a starter. And so we try to find spots to get him out there right away. We've got 3 pretty good players there in base now. But we got some packages and we can do some things with them. We'll kind of see how that all evolves. But it's nice to have. It's really nice to have.
You mentioned Felix and his learning curve. For defensive end, a rookie coming into the system, what are maybe some of the biggest challenges he faces in training camp?
Yeah, you know who could answer that better than anybody? George. Because he went through it a year ago, right? But Felix as well. At any position on defense, in my opinion, there's going to be a learning curve, right? Everything's new. The speed of the game, who they're going to go against, learning the guys they're going to line up against. You got to get through defeating your own offensive line and offensive team first. You got to learn a playbook. And I think where he got behind was one thing about offseason. As defensive coaches, we complain you can't do real football, right? But the one thing about the offseason is you can get a lot of the mental part, get a base, and he didn't have that initially. He's playing catch up right now.
That kind of took George under his wing. Who's doing that for Felix this year?
Maybe I see George talking to Felix. I see Charles. And I guarantee you Mike Dana is, because that's the kind of guy Mike is. Now he's dealing with his injury right now, but I think all those guys have kind of brought him under his wing.
You're really impressed with Daniel Wise. Just what you've seen.
Yeah, quick inside movement, which Joe has stuck out to Joe and I. And we got a ways to go. There's pretty good competition inside there with all those big guys. So we'll see how it all surfaces.
Have you seen improvement from Harry? It seems like he's
Malik.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And today he played. He's playing a number of positions. We're talking about Drue and being in different spots. If you look out there, Malik's in a lot of different spots too, in different packages. And here's a guy that's been here for a number of years, so he's heard it. So from the mental part, he's much further ahead than some of the other guys.
Steve, when it comes to the secondary, facing those receivers, just in your eyes, seeing it from the other vantage point, you see the receivers kind of be a little more improved, those new guys.
Our guys here? Yeah. There's guys flashing out there, and I'm trying to learn our guys' names, so sometimes I can't get all the rest. But I tell you, Sky, he just pops out now, but we expected that, right? And MVS, but the whole bunch of those guys. They're a challenge for us because you guys know this, but our quarterback makes all those receivers better. So it's great. It's good work for us.
You mentioned red zone as an area you wanted to improve, and you're working on a lot this week.
Yeah.
Andy said yesterday that he felt like the zones were shrinking, especially for you. Do you feel that way? Do you see the progress?
Yeah, there's tighter coverage. We're a zone match team. I think our guys are doing a better job of that. That's a credit to the guys in the middle that are leading it, like Nick and Brian Cook. They're kind of in the middle of the whole thing. And then our corners playing pretty tight. But I think, rep after rep after rep, we get a lot of passes thrown at us here. So we better get good at it because we certainly get plenty of work.
Anyone in particular benefited from getting the reps since Chris isn't here? on the interior defensive line that you see?
Really all of those guys. Joe's kind of kept them on a rotation, not one in particular. I mean, Matt was with us a year ago, and it's good to have him back, Matt Dickinson, and I think he'll get more reps as we go here. But we need to find out, what we have in there, and there's some unknowns inside.
Does going up against this offense, is it a double-edged sword in the red zone? I mean, as good as they are, that you're going up against the best, but then at the same time, can these guys get demoralized sometimes?
Yeah, I think our guys get over that part. But what gets tough sometimes is we defend a lot of passes in practice, and then if we go out there the first couple of games and people are going the other way, that's what's more of a challenge for us. But we get as much of that as we can when we do these 10-10-10s, because in those 30 plays, we're selecting what we need to see. That's why you saw some more red zone and some more run plays today.
Steve, when it's hot outside, tempers flare a little bit. We saw a couple of your defenders going up against Kelsey after the play. What's your message to those guys?
It's all good. I mean, the one thing about – I'm talking about the whole team now. The one thing about all our guys, I think, in my opinion, they all respect each other. And so when it gets heated for a moment, that's just the competitive juices and some pride coming up. But I always see them kind of take care of it afterwards, and that's the best thing.
Especially like the 3 straight padded practices. Can you speak to the value of these 10-10-10 practices for your guys?
Yeah, I mean, I think Coach Reed has a really good pulse on when to pull off, when to push, when to make it heavy. We went those, I guess it's been 3 in a row with the pads. And I think doing this here gives us a chance to do a little bit more of the mental, get the bodies back. You got tomorrow off, and then we can, I'm sure in Coach Reed's mind, we get after it a little bit next time we come back.
Here's what Steve Spagnoulo had to say to the media today. Spags commenting on Drue Tranquil. Another reason why I am excited for what they're going to do with the guy. I'm almost bummed that they didn't offer him a 2-year deal. So you get him cheap for 2 years. But that's where I go back and say, well, Drue Tranquil didn't want to sign a 2-year deal. But you see the versatility that Drue Tranquil brings, according to Steve Spagnoulo. That's good stuff. Also, the comments on Felix Anudike-Uzomah, was a little bit behind schedule, trying to come back. I just don't see him being that much of an impact guy this year unless Amenahu plays a lot more inside.
Yeah.
Right now, who's going to be better at rushing the quarterback? Dana or Anudike-Uzomah? Dana. Now, you hope that he does exactly what Karlaftis did last year and improves. And then at the end of the year, Karlaftis was honestly a top, 15 edge rusher last year.
He was real good.
And the sheer fact that there's still talk about Carlos Dunlap joining this team.
Mm-hmm.
Dunlap's still a free agent. If he still wants to play, he's going to play for a winner. And they've already talked about it. He'd like to come back. Doesn't want to deal with training camp. Doesn't want to deal with that. He's a hired gun, if you will. Restructure Chris Jones. Then you add another pass rusher to the list. And then you start getting into the question on how much is Charles Amenahu going to play on the edge? Because right now, if Amenahu is on the edge, you've got your 4 pass rushers, but then you also have to include the rookie, B.J. Thompson.
Mm-hmm.
So there's 5. Amenahu, Karlaftis, your starters, Dana, Anudike-Uzomah, your backups, and then B.J. Thompson, the twitchy, Tano Passano 2.0. Then on the inside, you've got Wharton, Noddy, Chris Jones, and then somebody. I mean, the bigger question is going to be more on inside than I think outside. But Dunlap can also play on the inside. So I just don't know how much Felix Anudike-Uzomah is going to produce this upcoming year. This is more of a next year type of situation, honestly, to replace Mike Dana. Because then next year you'll have Amenahu, Karlaftis, and then Anudike-Uzomah, and then you probably bring in another rookie or bring in another free agent, somebody of that nature. So that doesn't really surprise me a whole lot there from from Steve Spagnoulo talking about Felix and Udike-Uzomah. So some of the stuff that they had to say to the media today, Rashee Rice, Spags, as well as Felix and Udike-Uzomah and Drue Tranquil. No practice tomorrow. So if you're heading up to St. Joe, don't do that.
Jake, very big believer in the if you're not going to Chiefs training camp, why are you in St. Joe?
Yes. Facts.
Jake, I would like you to say one nice thing about St. Joe that doesn't have to do with the Chiefs.
It's only an hour drive.
You know, that's on me. That's on me.
It's about an hour drive.
That's on me. I left that door open.
It's an hour drive if you go up Highway 4 and you don't get stuck behind a slow poke or a semi or a tractor or something. Because it can be hard to pass on Highway 4.
Yeah, it's true.
There you go.
Could have been a better question for me.
Well, man,
that's on me.
I got you good there.
Yeah,
didn't I?
that's on me.
About an hour.
That's not on Jake. That's on me.
About an hour. Coming up next. All right, we're gonna play a little WWJD. What would Jake do?
That J. Okay.
Had an interesting day yesterday. We'll get to that coming up next. Had a little family vacation over the weekend, so we're getting ready to leave. Right?
Okay.
We are in the Smoky Mountains. All right. That's where we were at. And we were going to fly out of Knoxville. Okay. So, flight from Knoxville to Atlanta. It's like a 30-minute flight. It's like flying from Kansas City to St. Louis. Maybe not even that. But not many flights going to Knoxville. And then you go from Atlanta to Kansas City. Really, really simple. Really easy. Well, we're getting ready to leave. Flight leaves at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
Wake up at 6. It's about, we were with, because the mountains curvy and all that kind of stuff. About an hour drive to the airport. Not a huge deal. And wake up at 6. Going to leave at 7. Get there at 8. Leave at 9, right?
Bingo, bango, bongo.
Easy. Get up at 6. I look at my phone. Flight's been delayed till 11:30. It's like, oh, gosh. Okay.
Boy.
Well, we land at 12:15. Right? Short flight.
Okay.
Connecting flight leaves at 12. Can't do it.
Yeah,
hard to do. So the flight that they can get us on isn't until 11 o'clock at night.
Oh, boy.
So I look at my wife and I said, there's zero chance on God's green earth that we are going to be in the Atlanta airport for 10 hours with a 3-year-old and a 2-year-old.
It will not go well.
No. Layovers are the devil if you have young kids. Like 6 and 5, you're fine. Just give them a tablet. They're good. Right. So I'm like, what are we going to do? And the drive is 11 and a half hours. Okay. We wouldn't get home if we did the flying route. Flight left at 11 o'clock at night. Landed at midnight. By the time you get home, it's 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
I'm like, Linz, it is 6 in the morning. Screw it. We're driving.
So you decided while in Knoxville.
Yes.
I'm assuming to rent a car.
Yes.
And you drove said car to Topeka.
Yes.
How long?
Had to drive that to the airport because that's where our car was.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't make any. If it's an 11-hour drive, let's say we leave at 9, right?
Yeah.
That means you're going to get home at 9.
Yeah.
11 and a half hours.
Yeah.
Plus, that's so. Let's leave now. We're going to get home at 9.
Yeah.
Instead, we're going to leave at 11 and not get home until 2 in the morning. Plus a 10-hour layover with a 3-year-old and a soon-to-be 2-year-old.
Yeah.
I went with the keep them corralled, keep them in the car.
Honestly, Jake, you made the move I would have suggested.
Like
at that point,
yeah, you got to, right?
At that point, one, you made the decision that honestly got you home quicker. Weirdly enough, the 11-hour drive was quicker than the flight, but that's because you were not going to be able to get flying so fast.
Don't get me wrong. Driving 11 and a half hours with
terrible, awful.
With kids who are 3 and 2, not ideal.
You might have needed to pack a sedative.
But that's what I did yesterday.
I respect it.
So because we were an hour from the airport, so we drove an hour there, and then you drove through Nashville, drove up through St. Louis. Nice thing there is Lindsay's sister lives in St. Louis, so we stopped there for like an hour. That was a nice, break.
Yeah.
And so we left the Knoxville airport where we got the vehicle, and we left there at 10 o'clock and got home at 11.
So you got home at the time you would have been boarding a flight in Atlanta to fly home.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
I think you made the right decision.
Yeah.
It's a tough one, but
don't get me wrong. I don't want to drive 11 and a half hours.
No, understandable.
I don't. From the text line, attaboy, Jake, stick it to the airlines. Clark Griswold would be proud. I did feel like Clark Griswold there for a little bit. No, I wanted to fly. Because we would have left at like 7 o'clock. We would have been in Topeka by 1:30.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to do that. The airlines didn't work.
Cooperate.
We did get half our money back because we only did one part of the flight. So yeah, glad to know we're on the same page. Coming up, Colorado's back home. Who should join them? Mic'd Up coming up on this Victory Monday. A very special Victory Monday. It's first victory any day that the Royals have had after a 3-game winning streak. So we got a lot to get to this hour. A little over proper reaction, talk a little Chiefs training camp news, what occurred today and over the weekend. A little Chris Jones update. As always, let us know your thoughts. Hit us up on our text line, 785-272-9429. Very easy, very simple to interact with us. We'd love to get your comments. Check us out on YouTube. Go to youtube.com. Search Sports on 580 as we gear up for the NFL season. We've got the Hall of Fame game coming up here soon. Football's going to be here before we know it. It is August tomorrow. It is the month of August. That is game month, Fulton. Bods play on August 31st. How about that? We are 1 month away from Washburn, headed down to Yager Stadium South, and going to take on the Pittsburgh State Gorillas. Big one to start things off in the MIAA. So a lot to get to on this edition. Jacob on Fulton Castro. Fulton, all right, what are we doing here? Caller number 3. Caller 3, you get some Royals tickets?
Yeah, 3-game winning streak.
Caller number 3. Very simple, so easy. 272-9429. I'll say it even slower for you. 785-272-9429. That was very good phone cadence rhythm there, Fulton. 272-9429. Or if you're outside of this area, hook a 785-272-9429. Dan will be giving away some Royals tickets because this is a good day. This is a special day. The Royals have won 3 in a row. Yarbrough getting it done. Bobby Witt Jr. looking good. Michael Garcia is still really, really good. In fact, Garcia, you could argue right now, man, he's playing well. Need a little bit more pop from the youngster, but 23 years old right now, playing a great defense, 706 OPS, getting on base over a 300 clip. That'll work if you are Michael Garcia. So it's a good time. So we're going to be giving away some Royals tickets. Be listening, and maybe we'll give away more tomorrow because they don't play tonight, so the 3-game winning streak will still be going on starting tomorrow. So be listening as we need to celebrate something that the Royals have not done this entire year, which is win 3 in a row. So the Twins, yikes, man, the AL Central is so bad. I mean, just so bad.
It's horrendous.
Do the Twins still have a winning record?
If they do, it's by like a game. I think they entered the series 4 games above 500.
They do by one record.
Yep,
by
one game.
By one record. By one game.
Yeah, they were 4 games above 500 when they entered the series before they, got swept.
Every team still in the East is better than every team in the Central. That's incredible. It's the new schedule change where everybody plays everybody. That can definitely happen. Wow. And the Royals are still just 2 games up on the A's. Yeah, there we go. Fulton, who's our winner?
Congrats to Brian for winning our Royals tickets for today. The Royals keep doing good things to give more tickets. So keep listening.
Call him the Bry man. All right, Fulton.
Yes, Jake.
Colorado is back.
Yes, you did not get a chance to talk about this last week because this news broke, I think, the day you left.
Colorado is back. All right. And the Big 12 officially made the announcement on Friday, I believe. No, I left Wednesday. It didn't happen on Wednesday or Thursday. I think it happened on Thursday. I think it happened Thursday, didn't it? And then the official news was Friday.
I believe so.
Yeah. I'm here for it. So the next question in all of this is, who's next? Colorado is back. It makes sense. They were gone. Now they're back. The Big 12 is at 13 teams. The Pac-12 still doesn't have a media deal on August 1st, 2023. They are going to be playing football games in a year from right now, and the Pac-12 has no idea where they are going to be and who's going to be putting those games on.
Also going to have a maximum 9 teams.
They'll have more than 9 because they'll fill it just like the American.
Are we sure? Are we sure they're going to fill? Do we trust George Kliavkoff to fill those spots?
Yes. Yes.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
There are 2 schools to me that I would love to be a fly on the wall right now. The Pac-12, Washington State, Oregon State, Stanford, Cal, those don't factor into any equation. Stanford can go independent if they want. Cal doesn't even care about sports. Don't even know the last time they were good at anything, to be honest with you.
Some point they were.
I can tell you right now that Arizona, Arizona State, Utah are discussing when we're going to leave to go somewhere else. But those schools are Arizona is much like Colorado. Arizona has been in contact with the Big 12 forever. In fact, if Arizona could join the Big 12 tomorrow, they would. I do. I think if Arizona could join the Big 12, they would tomorrow. But I think the Big 12 is looking at a different way. The 2 schools that I want to know most about and what they are going to do are Oregon and Washington. What are you going to do? I think Utah, I think Arizona would come to the Big 12 if they get offered. I really do think so. The Pac-12 right now is the Titanic. It is sinking. And you need to get off that ship. Okay?
Yeah, you do.
Don't have a media deal on July 31st nor August 1st, okay?
So bad.
It ain't coming. It's not. And the Big 12, with how they structured their contract, you get full share if you come from a Power 5 school. The Big 12 wanted Colorado first and foremost because of its history in the Big 12. The location, it just works. Okay? Utah joining the Big 12 makes total sense. Arizona joining the Big 12 makes total sense. But I don't know if the Big 12 thinks they're number 1 and 2. I think Colorado was always number 1 because of the previous history of the location. But what's Oregon and Washington going to do? And here's why I think no other schools have jumped yet, because the Big 12 hasn't offered them yet, in my view of things. The Big 12 is looking, what are you going to do, Oregon and Washington? I wonder if they've gone up to them and say, hey, you're our first 2 choices. Come join the Big 12. Come join the Big 12, okay? That's Oregon and Washington. That would make the Big 12 with 15 teams, okay?
Yeah.
Because if the Big 12 offers Utah, if the Big 12 offers Arizona, if the Big 12 offers Arizona State, they're coming. There's no reason why you wouldn't. Why should you stay on a sinking ship? So that is what I would say to Oregon and Washington. Hey, Oregon, Washington, what are you going to do when 3 other members, 4 total in Colorado, Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah all leave. You now have 7 or 6 schools in the Pac-12.
Yep.
That's what you
You're
got.
down to 6.
You've got 6, and they are, no one gives a crap, Oregon State. Who cares, Washington? Cal, who doesn't care about sports, and Stanford, who are excellent at everything but now football and basketball. That matters most. You're going to be in that conference with those 4 schools. Throw in San Diego State, UNLV, Boise State. Like that's your television contract. That's what you're going to do. The whole hope for Oregon and Washington was to get to the Big Ten. Hey, maybe the Big Ten will bring us in. We can be travel partners, so therefore you can have a Big Ten super far west, right?
Yeah.
Oregon, Washington, UCLA, and USC. Honestly, to me, that makes sense. It really, really does. That makes sense. But the Big Ten doesn't want to do that, okay? Or they're not ready to commit just yet. Well, Oregon and Washington, you are right now in a situation where you got to go to prom, okay? You want to go with somebody else. That's the Big Ten. But they're not wanting to invite you. They're not putting together the great prom proposal. But you still got to go to prom. Because if you don't go to prom, what's going to happen? You get left out.
Yeah.
Guess who right now is willing to offer you a promposal?
The Big 12.
The Big 12. Is it the date who you wanted to go with? No, it isn't. We understand that. The Big 12 understands that. But the Big 12 knows their place. They know they're not the star athlete. They know they're not the star quarterback. But guess what? They got a seat at prom. They're in the mix. You can hang out with the other guys who are going to prom, because guess who's not going to prom?
Pac-12.
Oregon State, Cal, Washington State. Like, what are you going to do? Oregon. You going to go independent?
Don't know.
You going independent. Where are you going to get TV money, Oregon? You think you can survive independent until the Big Ten maybe takes you? Like, what are their options here? Their options are stay in the Big 12 or stay in the Pac-12. Stay in the Pac-12, get a low media deal. But the problem is, if you stay in the Pac-12, Oregon and Washington, Utah, Arizona, and Arizona State might bolt.
Yeah.
And you lose Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah. Guess what? Your media deal just went even lower. There's a part of me where the media people are going, all right, who's going to be in the league? And then we'll offer you a deal.
That's where the thing is. That's what it's getting close to. And what I imagine part of this conversation is for the Pac-12 with any potential TV partners is, well, who are we even paying for? Like, what is the product we are paying for? Because the instability is rampant.
So if you're Utah or Arizona, right? Utah and Arizona, their presidents say, all right, George, what's the television contract? And George has to go to the TV people and say these are our members. What are you going to give us? And the TV people say, if these teams are in the Pac-12, we'll offer you $30 million a year. Okay. So then George tells that to everyone, and presidents look together and go, $30 million a year. Is that included the college football playoff? Is that included the NCAA tournament? The Big 12's getting 50. Big 12's getting 50. And if we get an invite from the Big 12, then we get full share right away. So we get 50. Of course they're going. Why wouldn't you go? That's why I am wondering right now. Why Utah, why Arizona doesn't go right away?
Well,
according to CBS Sports, a couple of industry sources questioned how Colorado was able to obtain a full media share beginning in 2025. That's 2 years, actually.
Yeah. Well, because like Colorado joined the Big 12, they get their media share because the Big 12 intelligently has pro rata in the contract with ESPN. That if they add Power 5 members, they get full shares. ESPN and Fox pony up more money. Where that limits to and what the Big 12 does to that's interesting. I will say this on when our next piece of movement could come. When the sources are different areas, you never know, and you want to see more evidence. But there are apparently sources out there saying that the Pac-12 is going to hold a meeting tomorrow where numbers are supposed to be presented, but there is pessimism within the conference. The final days of the Pac-12 as an entire conference might be coming.
There's a reason why Arizona has been so chatty with the Big 12. There's a reason why Colorado did exactly what I said. We don't know what we're going to get, or we can get a full share.
Colorado basically sat here and said that the instability and the fact that they couldn't know what was going to happen finally became too much of a burden to bear.
Yeah.
And they made a move. If the Pac-12 does indeed meet tomorrow and the numbers are not great, I wouldn't be surprised if this just becomes a full dissolution. That the Pac-12 dissolves. That it's gone. That it doesn't exist. That it goes the way of the dodo. Or in football terms, goes the way of the Southwest Conference.
I still think that they could absorb. It all depends on who's left. It all depends on who's left.
Well, that's the problem. Is the thing is, if things don't go well for them the next time they do discuss things, I mean, 3 of your schools could immediately go to the Big 12. Oregon and Washington would then immediately call the Big 10 and go, what do we got to do?
And the Big 10 might say, we don't care.
I mean, the Big 10 just might say, you cool with taking a lower share? And then Oregon and Washington will go, it's better than nothing.
Better than staying with Cal.
There is a legit chance of all that's left is Cal, Stanford, Oregon State, and Washington State. Which at that point, Oregon State, Washington State go to the Mountain West. Like, go there.
Stanford goes independent.
Stanford go independent. And Cal, I don't know what you do. I don't know what Cal does.
You go D3.
They go FCS.
They don't, yeah. But that's what I keep coming back to is if you are Utah, Arizona, or Arizona State, I'm worried that they're going to pick Washington and Oregon over you because then it comes down to which one of the two of us or the three of us doesn't make it. Colorado's already in. The Big 12 doesn't want to get past 16, I don't think.
No, I think they like 16, I think is their number.
So Colorado's already in. If Oregon and Washington are in,
that's 15.
That's 15. So one of you between Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah ain't going to make it.
You know? Yeah.
You know, Arizona State has got, the Phoenix, the Scottsdale, the party school and all that.
Yeah.
But athletically, I don't know how serious they are. Arizona is, their football is terrible. Absolutely terrible. Utah is terrible at everything but football. What are you going to do? That's to me why there's no other talk. Arizona's rumored to be the odds-on favorite. By the way, I need to address this here. I do not want UConn in the Big 12. I do not. I am anti-UConn. And frankly, if I am UConn, I am anti-Big 12. UConn, you are a basketball school. You're in the Big East. Stay in the Big East. I would not venture back into that is I don't want UConn in the Big 12. I don't. I don't want them at all. That's why, to me, I would look at either Arizona State's probably out, even though it'd be a lot of fun to go to, the Tempe, been there, a lot of fun.
It's fun. It's fun time down there.
Yep. But Oregon, Washington, Arizona, or Oregon, Washington, Utah. Those would be the ones that I would go with.
I have a question for you, because now I'm just curious, and we're moving into this side of the discussion. Arizona versus UConn. What's the difference for you?
I think one, location.
Okay.
And I think that
because on their surface athletically, they're the exact same thing.
No, the Arizona football program is light years better than
UConn just went to a bowl game. They literally just went 6-6 and went to a bowl game.
If I'm UConn, I don't want to join the Big 12.
And that's also its own merit. I'm not disagreeing with that.
UConn, and it sounds a lot like your mark is more interested in UConn than anybody else.
Yes, because what your mark is trying to do, and this is no longer a maybe, this is what he's doing, is you do enough football to keep you afloat for now and keep you in third place. But the Big 12's long-term identity is the premier basketball conference. That is its identity. That is what it is. And that it is that
I don't know how much
when you think
sell for that though.
That can be its own debate. That Jake can be its own debate at a different time. He's doing it. That's what they're doing.
You're not getting 4 million people watching basketball games.
And that, like, the long-term creative vision and how he sustains that is its own thing.
Mm-hmm.
The fact of the matter is, though, he wants to turn the Big 12. He wants that to be its thing it hangs its hat on, because every conference needs that. The SEC hangs its hat on football and a tiny bit baseball. The Big 10 is the style of football they play.
Yeah.
And still football, but the style. Because you think of football Big 10, but you think of there's football, then we've said this. There's Big 10 football.
Yeah, slow.
Yeah, slow, plodding. At times makes me want to tear my eyes out of my head, and I'm a defense guy.
Mm-hmm.
The Big 12, football-wise, to create an identity is one thing. Your mark is attempting to do it in an entirely different way, which it could work, it could not work. That can be debated. But that's why UConn's so fascinating, because that basketball brand is so important. But also, that's why Arizona is the most attractive Pac-12 team, because of the basketball brand.
See, to me, the way that the Big 12 is going to get eyeballs on games is that you have no clue who's going to win. And if your fan base has a chance to win, you're going to get everybody watching from your fan base.
Yeah.
We know we know whose fan base is going to watch in the SEC. Every one of them, because they're crazy down there, okay?
Psychos.
Illinois is never going to win anything in the Big 10. Indiana's never going to do it anymore. Purdue's not going to do it anymore. Rutgers, Maryland. You're never going to win. Michigan State, you spent all that money on head coach.
Mel something.
Yeah.
I literally can't remember the name right now.
Not Mel Brooks.
No, that's the director.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Mel, come on.
I don't know why this is blanking me. Mel Tucker.
Yeah.
I don't know why Jake and I couldn't think of the name Tucker for a minute.
Like here's who's going to win it. It's going to be Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State, Wisconsin, but the Big 10 West is just terrible.
Yes.
I do like Matt Rule as a head coach though for Nebraska. I do like that though. I think they finally got that one right, much like KU got Lance Leipold right. But in the Big 12, look who's played in the conference title games the last 2 years. 4 completely different teams.
Yeah.
K-State, Baylor, Oklahoma State, TCU. You have no idea who's going to be in there. That's what they're hanging their hat on.
Honestly, yes. No. You can hang your hat on Big 12 football-wise in that, hey, it might not be the best football night in, night out, but, man, every year it's going to be wild.
You know, that's why.
Wild and unpredictable.
If I had to choose, I think Oregon and Washington are in the mix, because what are you going to do, Oregon and Washington? Are you going to just stay in the Pac-12 with those 6 schools and add a couple more? Great. It's Oregon, Washington, and Oregon's going to play UNLV in a conference game. Oregon's going to play San Diego State in a conference game. Oregon's going to play, Boise in a conference game. Boise doesn't have the same kind of sexiness as they used to. That ain't drawing numbers. I think that the Big 12 was looking at those two schools and say, come on board.
Yeah.
And then you'll have 4 schools around that area. It might be Washington, Oregon, BYU, and Utah. Maybe we'll just do that. And hey, you know what? You can play that. Those are not far drives at all. Then you can fly down. It makes too much sense to me.
It does.
Otherwise, if you are Arizona State, and Utah, why aren't you already leaving for the Big 12? Because you're loyal? Should you be loyal? Is that a quality that is redeeming? Yes, it is. But here's the thing. In this day and age, in the business world where we are at, loyalty does not mean squat.
I will use this time to say something I've said many times on these airwaves, and it's my favorite thing. Loyalty is just a word in a dictionary. That's all it is.
Because here's what's going to happen. Hey, Utah, you're going to be loyal to the Pac-12.
Cool. You're going to lose all your money and go down on a sinking ship.
Good. Because Arizona State, and Washington all just left, and now you're joined with Washington State, Oregon State, Cal, Stanford, San Diego State, Colorado State, whoever state. SMU is going to join the Pac-12, all that kind of stuff. No. You cannot be loyal. You have to do what makes the best and absolute best. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
From the text line, I am from New York City, the Bronx. I am also a K-State grad. In the Metro New York area, no one cares about college sports. Nobody does. Nobody cares about college sports out on the West Coast either. They just don't. It's just not who they are. It's not ingrained in them. People who went to Ole Miss will not go to their brother's wedding if it's on a Saturday and there is a home game at the Grove. No. I gotta go watch Lane Kiffin and the boys. You should have scheduled your wedding at a different Saturday. Like, that's different there, man. I'm telling you. It just means more.
It does.
We joke about that. It does. It really, really does. Coming up next, we got a little over proper reaction here on Mic'd Up. Overreaction, proper reaction. If the Royals don't trade Scott Barlow by tomorrow at 5 p.m., JJ Piccolo will not be the GM at this time next year.
I'm going to say proper reaction because it goes beyond just that. If the Royals don't trade Barlow, that means they've probably not done some other things too. Couple that with an openly admitted questionable trade for Nicky Lopez, not to a level I think of burn everything down and burn some at the stake, but there could be some questions on it and an openly horrendous process to get to it. I think if John Sherman's intelligent, that's got to be the final straw. That you've got to realize you gave him a chance. Because I said this last year when it turned into just the JJ show. The leash is short because you kept so much of the organization. To me, if they don't trade Scott, that would be indicative of other processes going incredibly wrong. Because even with a few bad outings, there is value for Scott Barlow. I know everyone's talking about trade value going down because his bad outings and other issues, and he's had those for a while. There is someone who would still take him for something. If he is still on this roster 5 p.m. tomorrow, and I will say like 5:30 because Whit Merrifield was technically on this roster at 5:05 last year at the trade deadline and was traded literally as the buzzer sounded. But something seriously wrong has happened. And I would then, like I said, at that point, fully join the camp of you got to move on because something is systemically broken in the organization. But who knows? Who knows? Overreaction, proper reaction. No one should be worried about Chris Jones not showing up to camp until August 15th. If he doesn't show up for 2 more weeks.
August 15th. That's 1.1 million in fines, by the way.
Good Lord. That's a big number.
No, that's an overreaction. I think he'll show up before August 15th.
Okay.
Yeah. That's overreaction.
My day was tomorrow. Said he'll show up on August 1st. I really hope he shows up tomorrow so I can be really right.
Maybe he does. Maybe he's like, okay, the first week practice and all that kind of stuff. And then he joins after that.
Maybe that's been enough time for Mahomes to text him and be like, dude, come on. We got work to do. Come on now.
Yeah.
I'll give you the good parking spot.
I don't know.
I don't know. That's the best joke I could think of.
I'll give you the good parking spot.
I'll give you the top bunk.
Do you want the top bunk?
I mean, for Chris Jones, no, because you're such a big dude.
You know?
If I'm Chris Jones, I want the bottom bunk. I'm too big.
Yeah.
I'm too big to be crawling up everywhere. Chris, come back. I'll give you first turn on the Xbox tonight.
Yeah. You could pick the music. I mean, they got to rework the deal because otherwise they go back to Mahomes. If Mahomes reworks his deal to create more cap space, then it does not look good for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
You
Well,
can't see. You can't trade him right now.
No, they wouldn't trade him right now. He's playing this year. The time to trade him would have been before the draft.
Yeah.
He is playing for the Kansas City
Yeah.
Chiefs this season.
No, that's overreaction. August 15th seems August 15th seems a little too late. Yeah. There is a big trade on the market going on right now.
Yes, we just had our first real big trade of the day.
Cleveland, who is one game back of the Twins, acquired prized first base prospect Kyle Manzardo in return for pitcher Aaron Savali. That's a 1-for-1 there.
It is, and a deal I really like for both teams.
Cleveland gets
a really good first baseman
for the future.
He can really hit.
Yep.
That kid can really hit.
And he's 6 years team control.
Yep. He has not made his MLB debut yet, so he'll have for all those 6 years. And then the Rays need some pitching help, and you get a guy who is going to cost them, this is per Ken Rosenthal, less than $1 million for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And then 2 more years of control. So they get him this year and 2 more years. And Aaron Savali's been having an amazing season. His ERA is 2.34. Pitches a lot of innings. Oh, this is a good deal for both sides. Biggest deal of the day. The stove continues to heat up. When do you think we get our next Royals trade?
Tomorrow, like noon, right when we start the show.
I'd take it.
Tomorrow,
throw off a few things, but I mean,
tomorrow at noon.
We should just be prepared tomorrow to have everything thrown off at any given moment by the Royals making trades.
Tomorrow at noon,
which we didn't get last year. I remember last year we were prepared. We were ready to go. Royals didn't make a single trade during our 3 hours. I was so angry.
Yeah, they're gonna do it.
I hope so. It'd be fun.
The question is, do they make like a big bombshell move?
No.
Like trade a MJ or trade a Prado or somebody of that, or Singer, or
If they do, and it gets a good return, it might be the thing that could get people to not want to hurt JJ.
Yeah, because man, Nicky Lopez is too good. Nicky Lopez. People are getting up in arms about Nicky Lopez.
Correct. It's fun to remember that.
Cheapers. Yeah, they probably didn't need to give up Nicky Lopez. They didn't to land Taylor Hearn.
No, they just need to get some cash. Again, the process is bad.
Yeah.
Neither Jake or I is disputing that.
Did they just forget? Like, did someone not look at the waiver wire claim?
All right, listen.
That
It's
oversight,
either
their email didn't go through.
It's either being cheap or it's saving up money to do something else. But there's a reason they didn't want to pay cash for him.
I get it. Why? That he wasn't going to be on the Royals roster next year. Like, no one needs a 29-year-old guy who can't hit.
You know where I stand.
That's why Jake Taylor didn't play much, his last year. Just because Rube Baker, like, come on. We're getting upset over Nicky Lopez.
People are.
Goodness gracious. Coming up next, we'll recap what's been going on with the Chiefs training camp. Eight on the practice field. No Kadarius Toney, but he is getting better. Maybe you're going to say that every time now because he's not going to be back for another 3 weeks probably. So every time that he speaks, he's no Toney, but he's getting better.
I think like the next few times he might say nothing because it's just like there's nothing to report.
No Dana today. No Jody Fortson.
Sad.
Isaiah Moore and Najee Johnson are going to be put on IR. Najee Johnson tore his ACL. Isaiah Moore as well with the knee surgery. Tommy Townsend went down, had to go see the medicals, but apparently it's an ankle injury he had when he was punting.
Man, Tommy, how you hurt yourself punting?
Well, someone came underneath him and he rolled the ankle.
Okay, Tommy, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that's what happened there. So there's some news there. Najee Johnson tearing his ACL is a bummer.
That's an he was looking so like had a chance to crack the starting rotation in the corner room.
Yeah.
That's a
bummer.
That is a bummer.
That
and
opens
somewhere
a 53-man spot because he was going to make the team.
Yeah, no, 100%. And now somewhere Dave Tobe is going to cry into a corner.
Yeah. No Chris Jones. Still is not reported. Fulton's concernometer is tomorrow.
It might start creeping up tomorrow if he doesn't show up.
We'll have to wait and see. No chippiness today, at least.
You know me. I am very big. Don't fight your teammates in practice, guy. We've had this discussion. You and I are two different sides. When an event happens, even I go, guys, it's not that big of a deal. You know, everyone upset's like Travis was getting irritated. He swung one time, not even that big, at Jack Cochran. And they said some words, separated, we good. The chippiness that's been happening at Chiefs camp. The chippiness at Chiefs camp is a fine level of chippiness.
Yes.
Like, I limit it at star player takes wild swing at random dude. But then if star player immediately goes, I got to be better, I got to calm down. That resets the barrier. You know, my other limit last year was when a same guy started three fights 3 days in a row. That's a problem.
I wonder if they're going to record the Kelsey podcast tomorrow since they have the day off. And will that get brought up?
I think it might.
I think it will.
I can see Jason asking about it.
It'll be a little bit more of an interesting because I that does not bother. Good. I like that. You know, Kelsey's 33, 34. 33 still gets irritated at, you know, and not all positions are created equal. Travis Kelce, he can pretty much do whatever the hell he wants. Okay. All right. Jack Cochran
can't.
No. I'm sorry. Chiefs Kingdom will take him down.
What's funny is the two guys Travis has gotten into some scraps with are Jack Cochran and DiCaprio Boodle.
Yeah.
So let's not act like he's also getting into these fights with dudes he might be spending a lot of time with.
Buda will probably make the practice squad like he did last year.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. A lot of skill guys are looking good right now.
Good sign.
Sky Moore.
Yep.
Deneric Prince.
Yep.
Noah Gray.
Yeah.
Justin Ross.
Man, you might have to eat a lot of crow on Justin Ross.
I won't say that I'll eat a ton of it. One, I didn't think he'd make the roster, but now knowing that Tony's injury situation is a little bit more interesting, and the fact that they're not going to have a fullback, I just thought people were getting way too into the Justin Ross hype until he was more solidified.
Yes.
Okay. And injuries make an impact in this situation. Plus, not having a fullback makes an impact in this situation. Yeah. Are they going to carry 3 tight ends or 4? Like, is Blake Bell going to be on this team or not? Like, I know they're keeping 3 tight ends.
Yeah, they'll keep at least 3.
I think they're going to keep Fortson, Kelsey, Noah Gray. Do you keep either Bushman or Bell?
Yeah, because Matt Bushman's look good.
Yeah. It wouldn't stun me right now if they put depending upon what Jody Fortson's situation is injury-wise, they could start him out on IR or start him on the PUP list.
Yeah.
That way you can keep it, and somebody eventually is going to get hurt.
Happens every time.
Happens all the time. Coming up next, we'll wrap things up with the mic drop. All right, Fulton, give us something good about the Royals, baby.
They've won 3 in a row for the first time all season.
Yeah,
Let's not let the Nicky Lopez trade, and whatever you feel about that, though, seriously, guys, we're getting upset about a dude with a 628 career OPS. Let's remember the Royals won 3 in a row. Bobby Witt Jr. has 9 RBI in that series.
Yeah.
He is figuring something out. There are good things about this organization. Stop letting one questionable trade ruin your life. It is terrible for your mental health. I beg you, move on.
Man, you give me like 8 seconds.
I know. And you just wasted 5 of it.
Hey, I'm not washed. I can still ride roller coasters. Coming up next, we've got 580 Sports Talk with Dan here on 580 WMEW.